welcome back to another edition of Two Steps Ahead podcast. Two Steps Ahead podcast, highlighting the stuff we've stepped in so you don't have to. I'm Son Edom alongside somebody who cooks up a mean PB&J. Tara Hochshiro.
I do. Hey, guys, welcome back.
Hey, so we're continuing the conversation here in our backyard barbecue podcast. Like I said, no steak, no hamburgers, but a mean PB&J. Hey, so I was actually expecting you to... thank you for the sandwich, by the way. I was actually expecting you to cut off the crust altogether. Like, you never did that with the kids growing up, cut off the crust? They just have like the... One
kid wanted the crust cut off and the other one didn't care.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Do you should I have cut your crust off?
No, it's fine. But I was just expecting the for some reason the crust to go away, and because I had a kid. There was one kid in elementary school who liked it. He liked his. It was peanut. He would always have peanut butter and jelly, but it was always on white bread.
Yes.
And it was always on that Wonder Bread, which I don't think is around anymore. I haven't seen it. And then he would have like pudding, or he had the good lunch, like the bad lunch, but the good lunch that we wanted. And so it was a small, close-knit school, and especially my class was pretty close-knit. And so, like, if for some reason maybe my mom was sick, couldn't make it, or something, other moms would step in and bring lunch for somebody, okay? So this kid, his mom, one time brought me lunch, and I got the lunch, the white bread instead of the Roman meal wheat bread, and I had the Wonder Bread, and I think I had like the licorice and the pudding and all that. So it was like the bad kid lunch, but it was like the envious lunch.
Right.
And then another time, I think earlier, so this might have been like 4th, 5th, 6th grade. Well, 1st, 2nd, 3rd grade, somewhere in there, again, same situation. But another friend, his mom stepped in, and she brought like a brown shopping bag full of food.
Wow.
I mean, like way too much. But her philosophy, which was the best, was it's better to have more
too much than not enough. Yep.
And so then, of course, you start bartering because you have so much stuff. Say, hey, what do you got? Hey, I'll trade you this for that, whatever. So I remember the day that I got the peanut butter and jelly on the Wonder white bread. With anyways, the point of it was the crusts were always cut off.
They were always cut off.
You had to cut them off.
See, the Wonder white bread stuck to my teeth. I didn't like it
really?
Because it was so soft and so like fluffy that it like I would have to toast it before I eat it because it would stick to my teeth. I didn't like it.
See, I never had it, so it was a treat. And then when I got old enough to buy it on my own, I guess I never did. But I did. I think I did one time. Oh, during one period of life when I first moved out and I got my apartment, because I think it was like 89 cents a loaf or something, like ridiculously stupid. And so you could like buy like a year's supply for like $5. and it would last. It would last the year. That was the other thing with all the additives, preservatives, and sugar in it. It would last for like a year.
Yeah.
And so that was it. And then the other thing too, the peanut butter. Like we would always get because it had to be on like the Roman meal kind of wheat bread.
Which is what I gave you just a little while ago.
Yeah,
that was honey wheat bread.
And then, so what kind of, because we always had the Laura Scudder's peanut butter.
That's what I just gave you.
Is that what it is?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, see, Laura Scudder's.
The good stuff.
And so when we got the bad bread on the Wonder Bread, it was like, it could have been like Jif or Peter Pan or one of those other sugary things, So it was always, even though because PB&J is always a solid go-to. But it also depended on what kind of bread, what kind of peanut butter.
Yes.
And so it was always the wheat bread and the Laura Scudder's peanut butter. Now, did this Laura Scudder's come with the oil on top that you have to mix in?
It does. That's a pain in the neck. Yeah. So that's the only part I don't like.
That's
but
what
I do that right when I buy it, but and then put it in the fridge.
Here's your $1 million invention. Invent something where you connect the peanut butter to a blender and it blends the peanut butter for you.
So, yes, that would be really nice.
A peanut butter blender.
And I'm going to one-up you on your PB&J. So, I love PB&J when I was growing up, and I would have a glass of chocolate milk with it. That was a must. And potato chips in the middle of the sandwich.
Okay. So I never went that far, but I'd have to have the potato chips. Now, here's the key. The chocolate milk. What kind? Like what?
Oh, Nestle's Quick.
Yes, okay.
It had to be Nestle's Quick.
Okay, thank you. Nestle's Quick.
Yep. And so in the potato chips, so I would put some on the side, but also if I have chips in the house, like potato is my favorite vegetable. I don't care how you make it, how it comes. It is my favorite vegetable, no matter how it's made. So I usually always have potato chips in the house. But I would make the peanut butter and jelly and put the potato chips in the middle so that when you take a bite, it crunches, right? Because there's chips in there, and then you get that salt on top of the peanut butter and the jelly. And then the chocolate milk on this. Yes. Oh.
Now, you're talking about like the Lay's plain peanut butter type chip?
Just like the regular salted Lay's.
Yeah. That's what it was. But it would always be on the side because I never put it on the.
I did both. It goes in the sandwich and then some on the side.
What kind of jelly? Because it was always Knott's jelly. Smuckers every once in a while. No, I don't even think Smuckers.
Yeah. I used to do growing up. We always had grape, and now it's like strawberry or raspberry.
No, but what brand?
Oh, Welch's.
Oh, Welch's. Okay.
Welch's grape jelly always.
Well, okay. Yeah.
And now it's like Smuckers. Strawberry or raspberry.
Do you remember, I forget what it was called, but the peanut butter and the jelly were in the same can?
Yes.
It was like the same thing.
Yeah.
And it was like, and if you looked on the outside, it was like striped.
Yeah.
The jelly, the peanut butter, peanut butter.
It was gross.
I forget what it was called.
I do too. I bought that a couple of times and it was not good.
Yeah, I couldn't imagine it being good.
No, it was gross.
If you were to influence people about peanut butter and jelly through social media, what would be the first thing you would put out there?
A picture
of the made sandwich?
Probably a video making
the sandwich?
The sandwich. Because then you can see the jelly dripping and the peanut butter dripping, and you put it on and you talk about it while you're making it. It's like, oh, and then you taste it, and then you're like, oh my gosh, this is the best PB&J ever. And then you have the crunchy, so they get like all the senses, and then maybe post a still picture.
See, that would be. I would do the. I'd want to do the video of the chocolate milk. Okay, remember.
Wait. How many scoops?
I was just going to ask you that. No, they recommended 2 scoops, right? 2 scoops.
Yes.
No, I'm like 6'7". I'm dumping that thing in there. I would get the tallest glass in the kitchen.
Yes.
And half of it would be the powder.
Yep.
Of chocolate milk.
Yep.
And the rest would be milk, and that would stir that thing
and
up.
And then clink. Yeah.
Because they recommended, I think the bunny on the commercial, the Nesquik bunny, was 2 scoops. No, 2 scoops. That's like brown milk.
I think I did like 3 tablespoons. Yeah. Like heaping.
The heaping ones, yeah. Yeah, no, it was never the 2. It was always more. And it would be to taste.
Yes.
That was the other thing. It'd be to taste. So I'd have to stir it up, drink it, taste it.
Yep.
No, I need a little bit more. So if I need a little bit more, I wouldn't necessarily add a big honking, thing. I would like put it in, and then I'd get it right to taste.
Yep.
So it had to be a certain taste. But I remember the commercial was always 2 scoops. I'm like, no, that never cuts it. That does not do it.
And now let me see if you did this one. So I also got a glass of white milk and Chips Ahoy chocolate chip cookies, and you dip the Chips Ahoy in the milk until it's just ready to fall off, but not quite, and then
we would do that and then also Oreos. But this was, you talk about dunking. This was my favorite thing to dunk, and I'll still do it today, which is probably why I gained weight through COVID, because I loved it, is graham crackers.
I love graham crackers.
You dip the graham crackers in the milk right before it falls off, and then you eat it.
Yes.
So the graham
I have a box of graham crackers sitting by my bed.
You should be sitting there like munching graham crackers and doing it.
On my nightstand, there's a box of graham crackers.
Okay, on the box of the graham crackers, they had the jelly. You ever remember that? Like on the box? There was the box was always like the olden days. They would have like the jelly, like a little jelly spread or something, I recall, on the packaging. And I never did that.
I don't remember that.
No. But then but it has to be, and I forget the brand, but it has to be that one brand.
Yeah, Nabisco?
Yes, it has to be the Nabisco, whatever. It can't be like this off-brand graham cracker.
No, it has to be the vanilla wafers by Nabisco. Or like when you put the vanilla wafer in your mouth and you let it melt.
Did you ever put a banana?
Yes.
Like cut banana and put it on? Or vanilla ice cream and vanilla wafers or something like that? Or
banana pudding with real bananas and vanilla wafers.
Yes, that's what it was.
Yes.
Yep. That's what's good stuff.
This is turning out to be the food show.
The food show.
The 80s babies, not 80s babies because we were old in the 80s. Yeah, we were older,
but the youthful 80s.
The 70s babies.
The food, man, that was good. They don't have that stuff anymore. You can't.
They do. We just don't.
You can't. Remember when they brought out an Ovaltine, and it was like the like.
That's what I buy now.
Oh, do you?
Yeah, I buy the Ovaltine because it has all the vitamins in it.
Shame on you.
It's not just sugar. But I prefer the Nestle's Quick.
On you for buying Ovaltine.
I know.
Did you ever buy Tang? See, we never had Tang.
No, I don't like Tang.
Tang was disgusting.
It's gross.
Yeah, I don't like Tang.
No.
But no, Nestle's Quick, you had to have it. And that back then it was in the tin.
Yes.
Candy, you had to pop the thing off.
Yes, you get the little, the little thing of the.
Yeah, that was always a good time. And that's when cereal had the toys.
Yes.
That's when Cracker Jacks actually had a secret toy. Stuff the good, like the good days.
It had rings and jacks and.
Nowadays, it was all the bling. It was the youthful bling. Nowadays, we have social media. And if you're with us last time, we were talking about the documentary called The Social Dilemma and the manipulation, basically, and the addiction to it, and the fact that we, the people, are the consumer, the user.
We are the product.
We are the product. We are the marketplace, and how people will pay these entities to change our behavior and to get us to do things that they want us to do. And so I thought one of the things that came up through the Social Dilemma, and another documentary, if you want to have more information on it, is there was a documentary out back in early part of 2019, I believe it was, called The Social Animal, and it documented the social media experience of 3 teenagers, one from New York, I think maybe one was out here in LA, and then one was in the Midwest, like Oklahoma or something, and that's another way. But that documentary actually had to do with more of the social aspects of it, like the social bullying or the peer pressure, the likes, not feeling validated, self-worth, things like that. And this movie, or this documentary, The Social Dilemma, also touched on it. And I thought what we could do is start off with a clip, because we've got some clips here that we played in our last episode. So if you missed our last episode, which would be episode 52, I believe, so I think this is episode 53, you can go back and watch episode 52, and you can hear what we said about the other stuff. And so here is, as we get this conversation going, part 2 of this Social Dilemma podcast, we're going to delve into more of the self-worth, peer pressure, likes, that type of thing. And this was one of the clips that came from it that talked about depression and suicide amongst young people.
There has been a gigantic increase in depression and anxiety for American teenagers, which began right around between 2011 and 2013. The number of teenage girls out of 100,000 in this country who are admitted to a hospital every year because they cut themselves or otherwise harm themselves, that number was pretty stable until around 2010, 2011, and then it begins going way up. It's up 62% for older teen girls. It's up 189% for the preteen girls. That's nearly triple. Even more horrifying, we see the same pattern with suicide. The older teen girls, 15 to 19 years old, they're up 70% compared to the first decade of the century. The preteen girls, who have very low rates to begin with, they are up 151%. And that pattern points to social media.
So there, the guy talking about how the impact of social media has led to depression, especially with the female demographic, the younger female demographic, suicides. And I think a lot of that has to do with the self-worth. I think in part of the video, because if you watch the documentary, there's the people talking, and then they kind of have like this sub-movie kind of going on.
Right, with this one family.
Yeah, with this one family. And the girl in the movie, in this subplot, has a picture, and they talk about her ears. And so she then starts to cover up her ears because her ears are too big or something like that. And so that's what it's become, too. So not only have we become the marketplace, the product, our emotions, our behavior is being bought and sold online, forcing us to do things, but now we're starting to deal with people in a vulnerable group already, because maybe you can talk on this a little bit more about being a teenage girl. That's not easy to begin with all the comparisons and the peer pressures and everything, let alone now you take that to social media, and all it does is take one click of a button to destroy somebody's life through social media and cyberbullying.
Yeah, it was so sad to watch that particular scene. And the interesting part is that they do follow this one family. Obviously, it's a fictional family, but it's talks about how social media affects each member of the family. And the young girl, she starts off by having a picture on her social media, and she's not getting enough likes. So she deletes it because it didn't get enough likes, and then she takes another picture, and then she uses an app to put effects on, you know, her face, like eyeshadow and, you know, mascara and all this kind of stuff. And so she posts that one, and then she immediately starts getting comments, cute, you look gorgeous, you know, nice picture. And then somebody says, oh, can you make your ears any bigger? And then they put like an elephant icon. So she starts getting self-conscious about, you know, her ears. And so they said that the commentator in the documentary said that this is the first generation from about 1996. I'm going to throw a carrot to our mascot over there. She's that from like 1996 is when the social media, this generation is the first one to be a part of social media in middle school. So we really don't know the full effects because now that generation is, you know, in their 20s, but they're the first one that grew up with social media as a part of their lifestyle. And it's just so sad because they have grown up giving away their definition of self-worth and their identity to the masses. And I think that's the one of the really sad parts of the documentary is that when we're not grounded in anything else, but we have this tool in our hand and we think that it used to be the magazine covers, you know, which is still there. The pictures, the advertising, the people on TV. Now we're getting this direct feedback that we were never meant to get from the masses. And people that don't even know us are making comments about us, and we weren't meant to have that type of constant feedback. And for young minds, you know, in middle school, when they're joining this, it's shaping who they are. It's devastating. It's creating depression. It's creating suicide, all kinds of horrible things simply because they have this medium that is way worse than. And it's not just, I think another quote in the movie is like, we had things before. Like we had magazines and we had television and we had movies. The difference between the technology that we have now is that it's purposely being manipulated and it's purposely working against us. It's purposely manipulating us. And so, you know, this poor girl is trying to post pictures of herself to be accepted, and then she's being made fun of, and that is destroying her idea of herself and causing a lot of depression.
We used to have Keeping Up with the Joneses.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, it's Keeping Up with the Kardashians. So we've got this idea of keeping up with somebody that's always been there.
Yeah.
I remember my days in junior high, which, of course, was pre-internet. It was, you know, and I didn't really care too much. I mean, I was a little bit aware, but I didn't really care too much what other people thought. But it was, you know, the clothes you wear were important. Mm-hmm. I never had MTV, but I'd sit at lunch and I'd listen to all the kids talk about whatever show was on MTV.
Yeah.
I had no idea what they're talking about. So, you know, I was like, yeah, I felt left out, but, you know, I didn't really care because I wasn't interested in that.
Right.
I wasn't interested in that. And so there are things like that. So I can understand for people that it's important if they need to feel like they need to fit in. Because I like to think myself as a rare person that doesn't really care what other people think. I mean, obviously I want people to think good of me, but like, so I don't wear the right clothes. I don't care. So I root for a different team. I don't care. So I've always listened to different music than the masses. Like I never listened to the music that the masses would listen to. And so my music evolved once I got into radio and I was starting to get exposed to more, but my personal preference was always something different than the masses of people listening. So I would never care that I was a little different. When all my friends were playing a certain sport, I wanted to go play another sport. So I go play football, and they were all playing basketball. Mm-hmm. And I didn't care because I wanted to do things in my life that I wanted to do. I was going to live my life according to me, not being dictated to the influences and peer pressures of others. And so I was, I think, fortunate to always kind of have that personality. But other people do have the personality of they need that affirmation from other people. Mm-hmm. They need to know that, hey, you look good today, or hey, you're with the in-group, or hey, you're wearing the right clothes, or you're listening to the right music, watching the right shows. You know, a lot of people sit there and watch, you know, The Bachelor, Bachelorette, or whatever show, or even Friends. I remember when Friends, the TV show, came out, mm-hmm. everybody was talking about it. Hey, son, you watch Friends? No. Why not? I'm not interested. Let's talk about it. I don't care. But I'm not interested in that because I wasn't like one of those, hey, I got to jump on the bandwagon. But people do. And now it's gotten to the point where we've taken it not only at schools, at work, and other social places, we've now brought it into the bedroom, and people now can come at you and judge you, whether good or bad, through a picture on Instagram or a picture on social media.
And I think, to play devil's advocate, I think that we all need a certain amount of validation. You might not need it in the areas that you mentioned, but I would gather that you would need it in other areas of your life. That's just human nature. We all need validation. Otherwise, we'd be a very cold society, very uncaring, very isolated, very lonely. And so I think that there's sometimes we need validation. And when I say that we need validation, there's like a spectrum, right? So we need to know that we're appreciated. That's a type of validation. Like someone appreciates the work that I'm doing. They see that I'm working really hard and they're thankful for it. They're grateful for it. That's a form of validation. That's a very healthy form of validation. When you get to this other end of the spectrum and needing validation, then you're in dangerous territory where everything is dictated by what your followers are thinking of you. And that's a very dangerous, and honestly, in full transparency, like I've seen the movie or seen the documentary twice. And so I'm asking myself, okay, I'm being manipulated. I'm the product. They're doing all these things. The first time I watched the documentary, I stopped using my phone for like 3 days. And I kid you not, I was getting the weirdest notifications to pull me back in, just like in the movie. Like, okay, this is not normal. What is she doing? Why is she not on her social media? And I was getting notifications about people that I've never even looked at their stuff for like years. And all of a sudden, this like weird name would pop up, and like, hey, I'm like, what? My phone was like going crazy trying to get me back onto all of these apps. So, I've seen the movie twice, and so I finally, I'm back on it. But, I can't not, like, even though I know what's going on, like I said in the last episode, I just got back from New York, and posted pictures, of our vacation. I'm like saying to myself, okay, I'm participating, right? Because then people are going to like the picture, and I want to show, the places that we were, the food that we ate. So it's like this weird, like they were talking about in the documentary, it's like this really weird, like addiction that we have, and that we're trying to make it normal. We're trying to normalize this manipulation that we are allowing ourselves to be a part of. And it's just weird. It's just like, okay, well, I don't want to put it down. I don't want to not participate. But I know that if I participate, I'm going to be lied to. I'm going to be tricked. I'm going to be preyed upon. Everything's going to be tracked. But then it's like, do I just stop altogether? Because then I'm not communicating with all of these people, and I'm not belonging to a certain community. And so is like,
Well, one of the points that was brought up time and time again was how much screen time can they get from you?
Yep.
How much screen time? And then in one of the parts, in that kind of family that they were kind of following, they were sitting there and measuring the amount of screen time that they were on. And one thought it was an hour, half hour max, and it was like 2.5, 3 hours. 6.
One of them was like 6 hours on Instagram.
And that became like the joke, the memes now that go around social media. I sat down to just check my social media for 5 minutes before bedtime. 3:45 a.m. I'm still scrolling,
right?
Type of thing. And so it's addicting. One of those is TikTok. TikTok will sit there and you've got your For You page, which is kind of interesting that fits into this because one of the parts of the documentary, The Social Dilemma, talked about how I'll see something on my feeds, but you're seeing something different on your feeds.
Right.
So, for example, TikTok, I think, is a great example of this because there's a For You page. Now, a lot of people that I've talked to think the For You page is like a general news feed. But it's not. It's for you.
So it's specifically
for you. So I'm not in a big TikTok. In fact, TikTok, if anything's on there, it's pretty much the same thing that's on Instagram and other things. Okay. But I used to get into videos that would show you how to take better pictures with an iPhone, or better like tips or strategies for this, things like that. It was like fun stuff, and so I would use it for practical things like that. How to, in this case, I would learn about videos on how to make sure that I don't allow my microphone to access apps that I don't need it to.
Yeah.
If you have pick an app, let's say email. Okay, you don't need your email unless you want to maybe voice,
right?
To text, but you don't really need it. So you can turn some things off. Was the point? So that was kind of interesting to me. And then I came across a page where somebody has a 175-pound tortoise. And I thought that was fascinating. And then I guess that started to generate animal, and then like a chimp. And I love chimps, but a chimp video came up. So I watched that. And now all of a sudden I'm getting inundated with videos of animals. And then for some reason, I don't know what, maybe there was a video of a baby and a dog. Oh, how cute or something. And maybe I watched it. Now all of a sudden I get inundated with baby videos. And so all of a sudden I went from videos of how to take better pictures, maybe how to use your iPhone, maybe tricks on how to do this type of editing, to now I'm inundated on my For You page with animals and babies. How'd I get there?
Yeah. And yeah, because they just feed you more of what it is that you're interested in. And to go back to this young girl, a lot of the young girls are looking at how to put on makeup, how to, do your hair. Like I'm inundated on Pinterest with hair videos because I have long hair, and I'm like, oh my gosh, how did they make that twist? How did they make that braid? How did they do that? And so I look at, and so now anytime like Pinterest will tell me, hey, there's a new hair video up. And so we look at this stuff, and so then we start to get so not blindsided, but we start to get so tunnel vision on one topic. And so if you're looking at, how to do your makeup better, then you try it, and then you take a picture, and then you're like, then you get the likes, and then, or you don't get the likes. So, I got to do it better. And then you're just like constantly in this frenzy of like this one topic, and we're missing out on the world at large.
TikTok, can you please give me back the nothing can stop me, I'm all the way up transition videos? Much more entertaining as an adult than baby videos. Breastfeeding videos.
Are you getting those?
I get those too. I'm like, what is this? It's like, I didn't, like I said, it had to have been because there was a crossover between a puppy from the tortoise and then and there's beekeepers. That was another one. I thought the beekeepers were fascinating when they'd go and there'd be like a hive, and then they have to collect the hive. So I thought it was fascinating. And then all of a sudden it goes from tortoises to bees to chimps to every animal to dogs to babies, and now it's babies. And they're just lying there.
To breastfeeding.
To breastfeeding. And then it's like, and people like this stuff, and they'll eat it up, and it has, thousands of views. And I'm sitting there watching it like, it's just a baby sitting there.
Right.
Doing nothing. Thousands of views, thousands of likes. It's crazy. But that's the thing. But so the point is that TikTok, I think it's most obvious to me how they manipulate that For You page based on what you've seen and what the data. Because that was the other thing. The Social Dilemma always talks about everything is tracked. Everything is to manipulate you into something. How much screen time you could get. That's why if you have a certain taste in videos, they probably keep feeding you that.
They do.
So just zoom.
Yeah, here's more, here's more. Yeah.
And it's always like and then the other ones were wait till the end, and then nothing happens.
Right.
That was just to suck you in.
Right.
And so then those started to pop up. So now I would go through them really quick because that was a waste of time. But that was the thing. You could actually see it if you were astute enough with TikTok to actually see the manipulation take place based on the videos that you see. And you see a transformation on the For You page to go from what I was really interested in to now just a complete other nonsense.
Right. And now, like we were talking about, this pacifier, like if we're bored, if we're depressed, if we're away from that information for any length of time, then it's like we crave it again, and then we're looking for it, and then we feel like, we're missing out. Like, what does my phone have for me? And so we're using it as a what do they call it? A pacifier, like an electronic or a digital. They
actually labeled it digital.
A digital pacifier. Yeah.
And the other thing someone said is that they expect us to just adapt to it.
Yeah.
That was the other thing I wrote down. Just adapt. And then the algorithms are not objective; they're purpose.
Exactly.
So everything's a purpose. Everything on there that you do, everything on there that you see is intentional. And that's what you got to remember. That's why when I first got into social media, nothing was ever personal. Things, life, whatever. It was always a professional or surface things. videos, pictures, beach, whatever, maybe places I worked, whatever. It was always something that was nothing personal, because I knew that there's always somebody on the other end watching this stuff. It's kind of the old days when you would cover up the camera on your laptop because people could peer in through your computer.
Then I still feel like there's people watching. If there's people listening, then like are they looking on our camera too?
They could be. It's all there for you, but everything is. And so here's another clip that we could play. It talks about the effects that it has on real world behavior and emotions. And we are actually clueless is the word that is used, that we are actually clueless to all this.
Right.
One thing they concluded is that we now know we can affect real world behavior and emotions without ever triggering the user's awareness. They are completely clueless.
So we aren't even aware. So if we take a look at the self-worth, it's easy to deflate somebody's self-worth in a heartbeat. You got big ears. You got a big nose. Whatever,
Yeah.
And that's the thing. And I'd see that. And again, I want to go back to the TikTok analogy. You'd see a lot of people in like scantily clad swimsuits, whatever, dancing around, jiggling their assets, and they get millions of views. And that's all it is. I mean, there's nothing quality to it except, a voluptuous person flaunting their goods. Okay, fine. But then I look in the comments, and you start to see some people, hey, you could wear clothes doing that. You could put something else on and still do that same dance move.
Right.
Okay. Now they're calling out what it is. They're not saying, "Oh, you're fat" or anything like that. But they're actually calling out what it is. You could wear yoga pants and not be in a bikini in your kitchen while making your coffee.
Right.
And so they start to realize that this is all being manipulative because sex sells and everything sells. So if I'm going to be TikTok and I want viewers to have as much screen time as possible, and someone watches this, that's all I'm going to feed them. Because I'm going to keep them glued.
So now we are part of the manipulation to other people.
Exactly.
Because we're posting things that will get people interested or excited, and we're not doing it because anything else except that we want the likes, we want the followers, and so now we are part of the manipulation as well.
And then that one person drops the bomb, hey, your gut's hanging out. Boom. All of a sudden now self-esteem could start to, especially in younger people, could start to erode.
Right.
And then what are you putting your self-worth in?
Right.
There was a gal who I knew, she wrote a book called Worth It, and she was talking about her life experience about the self-worth and how you try to get validation from other people, and who are you seeking validation from, and what are the type of people. And it got to the point where her self-worth got so low because she was seeking validation from people that didn't matter. And that wasn't social media. That was just people in her life.
Right.
So now imagine, and you can kind of control people in your life as to who comes and goes. But on social media, I post a picture, I get people that I'm not even connected with that can see it because I'm on public and like it, comment on it, or whatever. And these are people that are out there. Or on Facebook, anybody can comment on a post. I can comment on anybody's post. I don't even have to know who they are. And I can go in and I can drop a bomb on them and walk out and be like, and destroy their life. Say some comment, like, hey, you're fat. Boom, I walk out, and that's my only thing that I do to them, and now their self-worth is starting to be questioned.
Right.
Because they want that likes. Or, we've talked about it with you, you would post something, maybe get 1 or 2 likes, and it's like, wait a minute, it's something there that affects. Same with me. I get a few views, I'm like, okay, I want to get this higher, so what can I do to push the views higher? I had to Instagram story, you start coming up with strategies to get more. So it's in all of us, but our validation then comes with, oh, I've got so many likes. Yay, that makes me something special. Well, what if Instagram goes away? Now what are you?
Right. Now you're not special anymore.
Oh, you're just back to whatever it is in the
back
kitchen.
Back to what you were.
Yeah, you're in the kitchen wearing frumpy pants instead of the bikini, making that coffee for the morning.
Right. And I think that's where a lot of the depression, a lot of the suicide is coming from, because we get so sucked. I mean, I don't want to act like I know why people, commit suicide, but the clip that you played, there's a direct correlation to the uptick in suicides in that particular age group to social media. So we are placing way too much value and way too much importance in, social media. And it does, like these young girls, they post things. And then if you look at all the comments, it's like, babe, gorgeous, you're so cute. Like, and so we do it for that reason, right? Because we're going to be flooded with all kinds of compliments. So, and then we say, oh, but that's just social media. That's just what we do. That's just how it works. That's just how, so I think See,
in the documentary Social Animal, one of the comments that one of the girls made was she would go to her DM and she would see booty pics. That's all people wanted, was her to send, pictures of her body to people, strangers that we don't even know.
Yeah.
And you put it out there, and it's like, where are these pictures going to end up?
Right.
What are they going to do? Or another one, I think it was the same gal, I'm not sure, because it's been a while since I've seen it, but she, I guess, broke up with a boyfriend, and then all of a sudden all his friends started attacking, cyberbullying, put out all these lies about her, and it's like, okay, everybody else then believes it because they're all sheep, and so then she ends up trying to kill herself.
Right.
And fortunately, she didn't succeed, and then she's come around to realize that she gave so much power to this entity, too much power. And that she lost control of her life because she gave it to them, to social media, and it nearly cost her her life. And now, like I said, fortunately she wasn't successful, so she's around to A, tell other people about it, but then B, to hopefully go on to live, a good life, because, she starts to realize that social media is what it is.
And I mentioned this a little bit in the last episode, but it's just such a conundrum because we use social media to our advantage for certain things. We use it for our work. We use it to promote a book. We use it to promote our creative, endeavors. And so we feel like we have to be on there in order to get the word out, because advertising, it's free advertising for the most part. I mean, there are paid advertisements that we can buy, but a lot of it's free as long as you know how to work the system, right? So we can promote the podcast, we can promote products, or anything that it is that we do. The content that we write, we can promote that on there. And so it's like, well, I have to be on there. So then it goes back to what you were saying before. It's like, how can we use it so that we're not getting sucked into it, into the dark, part of it? But I don't know that we can. I don't know that we can separate it, because if the people that created these algorithms to manipulate us, and then they themselves go home at night and are manipulated by the very system that they put in place during the day, then I don't know how we're supposed to separate it either. And so it's a real dilemma, because you want to put your product out there, you want to advertise, you want to gain followers. I mean, that's the whole point, right? So if I was going to write another book, I would need to start really ramping up my content in a certain way, and trying to get more followers, and because then you go to a publisher, and one of the first things that they're going to ask is, do you have a built-in platform? i.e., how many people follow you on social media, and how much do you interact with them? How much do they interact with the things that you post? Because they don't want to do all the marketing that they used to. So it's like, are you coming with a built-in audience? Well, the only way to do that is to be on social media, and then you're getting sucked into, oh no, I don't have enough likes, I don't have enough followers, like what do I do? So now I need to take pictures in a certain way, I need to post a certain way to kind of get that attention, and now we're right back into it not being healthy. So I don't know what the answer to that is, except that we're just stuck in it.
Well, it's kind of funny, these publishers, it's like, well, then why do I need you? If I have a built-in platform, I'll just go self-publish. I don't need you anymore. I'll put you out of work.
Well, they have a name.
Yeah.
People want to buy from Random House as opposed to something that's self-published, because it's credibility.
Yeah. Still that gear, but
I've self-published 2 books, and so my third one, I vowed to myself before, I'm like, I will never self-publish again. This time I'm going to go to a main house publisher, and I'm going to get quote-unquote validation and not have to explain to everybody why I self-published. And now I'd have a name on it, and so it's just instant credibility. They have better ways of, even though we come with a built-in platform, they still will market you because it behooves them to sell your books. Where if I self-publish, I have to do everything on my own.
One of the things that I found was interesting with the documentary, The Social Dilemma, was that the guy who invented or created the like button.
Yeah.
Okay, the purpose was for good.
Yes.
But he also realizes that the unintended consequence of the negative was the fact that, now I'm not getting many likes.
Right.
So the like was supposed to be like, hey, we're going to make you feel good because all these people like what you did, going to validate what you did. But then the unintended consequence on the flip side was, now we're having depression because we don't have enough likes. Or we're having this because the response isn't what we thought.
Yeah. Why is that person getting 200 likes and I'm getting 3?
Exactly. And we sit there and we start obsessing about it. I don't think there's an answer to it because I think we're too, I don't want to say addicted. We are, but not addicted from the standpoint where we can't not do it. But we rely on social media too much for everything. To connect, like you said, whether it's sharing the podcast with people through social media, whether it's businesses on social media, whatever it is.
We have to mention that we are playing on social media.
Yeah, we do.
All of our platforms are social media.
We have Instagram. Well, we don't have a Facebook. We have Instagram, but we put it out there on Facebook and stuff.
And YouTube.
And things like that. So, yeah. So, again, it's not all bad. It's not always black and white. So, we tend to dwell on the negative right now because that is what the documentary, The Social Dilemma that we're talking about, is actually talking about. So that's what we're talking about because they're talking about it. But there are some good to it. You can get good things out there. You can put your music out there. We talked to Jay Robles not too long ago, the DJ, and he has a platform where he can put music out without having to go through, a record company or something like that. Musicians can do that. You can have your own music, because one of the things back in the day was you lost your rights to music if you signed with a record company. So bands didn't have their own rights. In fact, I think the Beatles at one time, they belonged to Michael Jackson.
Yeah.
Why doesn't Paul McCartney have the rights to his own music? And then I think Sony bought it. I don't know. So, it's crazy. Now you can have your own rights. So there are some good to it. There is good to it, but I also think it's how we use it and how much influence we allow it to have, because there has been conversations that we've had about those influencers on us. How much input and influence are we going to allow these strangers that we don't even know to have influence on us? Why do we really care that some dude on the other side of the world thinks something negative? On the flip side,
positive.
Well, I was going to say on the flip side, or positive. Hey, obviously, great, positive. That's awesome, but then on the negative, it's like, why do we have to have that? It should be kind of neutral. Hey, great, they like it. That's awesome. Oh, they don't like it. Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
It should be kind of neutral. What should matter is the people that matter to us and what they say. You mentioned before we were doing our shows, any type of feedback, because we're kind of expanding as we do the podcast to different platforms and different places, and people are starting to kind of not audition us but check us out to see if we're worthy to be on their airwaves and so forth. And no one has really given any specific, like, you guys do this great or you guys do this, but on the general, these platforms have said, hey, you know what, we think you have the quality to come on our platform. And I take that as positive, because when people see the product that we put out there, they like it.
Right.
Other people, one person told me, gave me specific feedback. They like the fact that I don't cut you off and let you talk, or we let each other talk. They were referring to me specifically, but that we let each other talk. We don't cut each other off. We can do our complete sentences, our thoughts, and whatever. They liked that because they thought it was refreshing. So that was specific. Other people might be like, hey, you guys talk too much. You should cut each other off. Be more
sometimes we get a little long-winded.
Yeah. But again, the platform is that though, discussing what we go through.
Right.
But so that validation is good to get. When people say, I don't like what you do, okay, that's fine. Go listen to somebody else. I'm not, and you know me, I don't do all on the negative. If it's good criticism, I want to fix it.
Right.
And that's what I look for. But if it's just like, you guys suck, okay, well, fine, go watch something else.
So do you. Bye. No.
Yeah. Here's a Tootsie Roll. See how many licks it takes to get to the center of this one, Poppy. But I think social media can be, like you said, good and bad. We just can't give it the power that they want.
And I don't know, based on the Social Dilemma, the research, I don't know that we're strong enough to do that. I don't think because they're looking at the individual psychology of the person. What are my emotions? What triggers Tara? What is Tara interested in, right? And so they have all these algorithms and all these machines and all this stuff behind the scenes against me. Like, I'm not strong enough to combat against that. I would, be arrogant if I said that I could. There are a lot of things that I do that after I'm watching it, I'm like, okay, I don't do that. I don't do that. I do that. There are things that I do. So I'm not going to sit here and pretend that I'm above it. I don't know that any of us are strong enough to be, I think we would have to be completely off of it, because there's that constant dance of, and like, just say, for example, we have this podcast. So there's this constant dance of, we got to have content in the podcast, but then, okay, look how many likes. Okay, good. We're gaining. We're making progress because the likes are going up, the views are going up, right? And so that is pushing us further to keep moving and to keep getting better. And if we weren't getting those likes, then we're like, okay, what is going on? Like, maybe we need to try something different. Whatever. So I don't know that we can ever be strong enough to be above it. I think we're always, even if we're doing it for a good reason, or for, we want to have good content, we want to help people, we're still being manipulated, and we're still in there, and we're still playing the game because we want more likes, right? To get more likes, you have to like other people's stuff. To get more followers, we have to follow other people. So I don't.
Okay, here's what I do to balance it. Okay, if you go to my Instagram and you look at my posts, if it's not show related, it's usually going to be a picture slideshow. Okay, a video basically of pictures with music. Okay,
right.
So it creates a video in essence,
right,
that I'm posting instead of a picture or multiple pictures. I'm actually creating a video with music under it, usually about 15 seconds, depend, and that's what I'll put. Okay, so then I set myself a standard. 100 views. If I get 100 views, that's good. Anything else is gravy, and I don't even worry about it. That way, that has allowed me to have balance.
What if you don't get the 100 views?
Oh, I get 100 views, because then I keep refeeding it on Instagram story or something. And there's sometimes in there. There's sometimes I post things about like our show. Okay, if I post our show on there, it might not get 100 views because it's an hour-long show, so I might get 100. But I've gotten to the point where I think I've got enough followers where I can, but it doesn't really bother me too much. That's just kind of a goal I get. And so sometimes I'll go through and look, and I might repost on Instagram story after I've maybe gained some friends, because maybe they haven't seen it, because who really scrolls through 6 months ago what was on your feed? Right. Nobody. So revisit it to new people, kind of repurpose some of it. But to me, I think that's, for me personally, I'm not saying for anybody else, that's how I can balance between what I think is, okay, that was worth putting up there, and a good response, considering who I am, considering what I put up there, considering the people that I'm connected with. For me, that's a good balance. Anything more is great. There's sometimes I think I posted something from San Francisco, or I posted something when I left the college that got 400 or 500 views. Hey, awesome. That's outstanding. But I don't think every time I want to reach that. I find it fascinating what gets, and this is my I don't know, curiosity, inquiry, whatever. What gets the views versus what doesn't. Sometimes I'll post something and I won't get it. And I'm like, that's interesting. I could have swore I would have got that. Then I post something innocuous just because I just want to see. I think I'm going to post this and I'll take it down, and oh, boom, it lights up. So again, you just never know. But I would say this. For me, I set a goal or a standard, whatever you want to call it, that I will look for. That's very low, not high, very low bar. 2, I've gotten to the point, we've talked about this, where we used to, let's put the Instagram so it looks like this, and it has a feel, and it has a flow, and it's like this and this. I gave up on that. I said, you know what, I'm just going to put whatever the hell I want on there, and that's what I'm going to do. There's no rhyme or reason to it. There might be some in the picture, like what I write, the pictures I post, and the music I use might have kind of themes. But I don't care about structure. I don't care how it looks. Come on my page, like my stuff, don't like my stuff. I'm just putting it up there because it's for me, kind of like doing the podcast. I'm doing it for me first and foremost. Hopefully, second, it helps people. And third, it's entertaining for people, good quality entertainment. But I'm just going to start doing it for me. And that's what I've done with social media. I'm just going to do it for me. I do this when I was doing the Sunday Night Brew. I just did that because I wanted to put something different on content. something new.
Which is very cool, by the way. If you haven't seen his Sunday Night Brew videos on his Instagram, they're very cool. And so I also like you're not necessarily the news.
Yeah, I've got more of those in the bank. I just need to do them.
I want to do a couple of those with you. Those look like a lot of fun.
Yeah, maybe we should do that. Maybe we should do as a subset.
Yeah.
To 2 Steps Ahead.
That looks hilarious.
But see, it's just for me because it's fun stuff to do. It's like hobbies. Remember back in the days when we had hobbies?
Yeah.
Okay, baseball card collecting, or maybe you're scrapbooking, or knitting, or reading a book club. I don't know. But to me, stuff I put on social media has become a hobby,
right,
so that I can be creative. Pictures, music.
But the thing that editing. Taps into, like the Social Dilemma was saying, is like it gives us a dopamine rush. And so even though what you're saying sounds great, there's still that underlying dopamine rush when we post something and we get those likes, and that keeps us to do, let me do it again, let me do it again, let me do it again, let me be more creative, let me see how many more, and so I don't know that we can ever be above it. But see, I think not be part of the
true. But I think it's true for people because comedians are the same way. They want to put out jokes that people are going to laugh at. Bands, they want to put songs that are going to reach the top of the charts. So I think it's in us, especially creative type people, and hopefully all people, to do the very best that you can.
Yes.
And the danger lies within if we, let's say as creative people, look to the views and look to the analytics as validation for what we do is good. Because most of the time, the impact that you're going to have isn't going to be seen through the likes and the analytics.
But true. And there's a lot of people who stop because they're not getting the likes, and they think, oh, okay, I must not be doing something right because I'm not getting the following, I'm not getting the likes, and so therefore I guess this was, a bad idea. And so they're using those analytics as a reason to stop, or they're using the analytics as a reason to keep moving forward in that particular thing. And so we're not necessarily being true to ourselves. We're basing it on the feedback that we're getting. And I don't know, like they said in the documentary, I don't know that we were built for that immediate feedback. Because like when you publish a book, when you publish an album, when a comedian, you're getting that feedback from the audience whether or not they laugh, right? But the audience isn't out to get you. I think that's the difference. Yeah. Technology is out to get us. I think that's the really big difference in all of this, is that we can be creative, we can use the social media, but we have to understand, based on the documentary Social Dilemma, they are out to get us. They're not helping us succeed for us. They're helping us succeed for them because it's making them money. And so we are posting on a platform that is working against us and using us. And I think that is the difference, as opposed to doing stand-up or putting out an album or, publishing a book. And I think that's what we have to pay attention to, is that although we participate in technology, and sometimes you have to, if you're having a business, or if you're creative or whatever and you want to get your stuff out, but we have to do it with the understanding that there's people behind the scenes watching everything that we're doing, tracking everything doing, and using it against us to suck us in deeper in a different way that we don't even realize, and that they're taking us in a direction that we may not even want to go or even realize that we're going. And so I think we just have to have the humility to be aware that that's what's really going on.
If you need people to like your stuff, you can follow us. We'll like your stuff. We'll boost those analytics for you. All you have to do is go to... A little slow on the draw over there.
I know, right? I threw that carrot to get her to stop barking, and it went way over her head.
Now she's coming over here. Go to our Instagram. It's a judge-free zone. And 2 Steps Ahead Podcast, TWO, 2 Steps Ahead Podcast is our Instagram. If you click the link in the bio, there's some options there. You can go to the swag shop, and you can get merchandise like the hat. You can get T-shirts, beach stuff, all kinds of cool stuff. There's also places like Pandora, Spotify, SoundCloud, where you can listen on your favorite platform. Also, our YouTube channel if you want to watch these videos on YouTube. Also on Instagram TV. But 2 Steps Ahead Podcast, TWO, 2 Steps Ahead Podcast is our Instagram. And my personal Instagram is Edem Rocks, EIDEM ROCKS. And if you EIDEM ROCKS, if you like me or follow me, I'll follow you. That's one of the things I like to do is I'll follow people who follow me. And if I'm following somebody and they're not following me, boom, you're gone. Off my page, off the gram. You're out of here. I follow for follow. And then also, if you want, RadioWarp.com is an online streaming radio station. We're on there Mondays and Wednesdays, 11 a.m. and 8 p.m. Pacific time. And we're going to actually expand that, I think, to a daily thing so you can hear us on RadioWarp.com as well. And your stuff?
I am on Instagram and Facebook at Tara Hoke Shiro, TaraHokeschiro. I have very few followers, so I don't work the system the way he does. But if you want to follow me, that's fine. I also have a website, tarashiro.com, where you can find my blog. There is a podcast video library. And we also have a products page where you can buy stuff in the swag shop and some really cool T-shirts as well.
And we'd like to thank you for supporting us. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. If you want to send us a message, you can. Just send us a DM, as they call it,
yes.
Direct message.
Slide into our DM box.
Slide into our DM. And let us know what you think. Let us know any comments you might have. Just talk with us and communicate. We'll respond. And if it's something boring, Tara can respond. If it's something interesting, I'll respond. No, but we'll definitely respond. And again, it's like one of those things. It's like, it's hard to do, but if you can control it as best as you can, you take the power back. That might be a start. I don't know, but I think we're too dependent on it to change or to get over it. I think it's going to be too difficult.
I think it is. So I think we need some higher beliefs and some higher macro vision.
Which you can go back to previous podcasts on our YouTube channel and Instagram TV and see some of the things that we've talked about regarding such things on previous episodes. Hey, Absolutely. We are Two Steps Ahead podcast, highlighting the stuff we've stepped in so you don't have to. Take your passion, make it happen. Let yourself be great, be kind, and don't be an a-hole. We'll see you next time.
Thanks, guys.